We're back. It's another episode of Different Kind of Genius. I'm your host, André Kufé. Here we are again in Don't Poke the Bear. This time we're in a different studio room. We just thought we'd switch things up, try something new, and let's see how it looks. At the moment, I'm pretty happy with it. But yeah, big shout out to Don't Poke the Bear again. They're sponsoring us, they're holding us down, and the show wouldn't be able to continue if it wasn't for them. Also, Griffin Burger, Jack from Idle Hands, and the Streets Barbershop. They've been looking after us forever now, and they'll continue to do so, and I'm nothing but thankful. But back to business as usual. I've got a man with me, all the way from Sydney. We had to sneak it in, because if we didn't, we were going to miss it, and I didn't want to miss this opportunity. With me today, I've got Jake Putan. How are you, my brother?
I'm very well. It's good to be here.
Right.
I wasn't expecting it either, but it just kind of lined up really well.
It did. As soon as you came down, Nas was like, make this happen. And I was like, all right, if I must. Wait, Liam, is this coming through your end? Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. I was just not seeing things there and I panicked for a second. But yeah, I hope I didn't butcher your last name. Is it Putin?
Well, it's actually a really funny story. So my family's always pronounced it as Putan.
Putan.
And it sounds very Aussie.
Putan.
And interestingly, throughout school, no one ever pronounced it that way. Like everyone always pronounced it in so many variations, whether it was like Putan, obviously getting the Vladimir reference. But I'd been sort of encouraged through different hair stuff to start pronouncing it as Putan for different stage work. And when I looked into it, Putan in French means prostitute.
True.
And so it's actually like a substitute for bitch, whore, fuck, slut, whatever you want. And in different languages, Spanish, Italian, Philippine as well, like different variations of that as well, all means exactly the same thing. So
Jesus.
just be careful about who you say it to you, but call me whatever you want.
Jesus. That's like, bro, I know the feeling all too well about hard to pronounce last names. Like my last name's Kufé.
Yeah.
And like, it's got the accents over it because it's French. Bro, all through school I got like cuff, like Kufé. Like, and you're just like, okay, like you're literally just making up words. Like,
yeah.
Like, how do you pronounce it as that?
And it's obviously not an English name, so people just don't really understand how to pronounce it with English language.
Literally. And then, like, bro, what's even weird, even André, people scuff that, and you're just like...
Andrew.
Bro, like, Andrew. I'm like, you're adding, like, letters. I'm like, where does this come from?
It just doesn't fit in their dictionary.
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, fair enough. But shit, I know what you get up to. Tell the people, what do you do?
Well, I cut hair sometimes, but it's a very interesting journey in the last probably 8 months. I've really sort of stepped away from cutting hair full time. I've cut hair since I was 16, and so I'm turning 27 next month. So it's been a while. But I found that in the course of my journey, I really sort of stepped away from following trends, just kind of questioning why am I doing that? And that's kind of led me into a position where I'm probably cutting hair about 10 hours a week now. And that's it.
True. What, like, when you say you stepped away from following trends, what did you step away from?
I think I was falling into just working at barbershops and cutting hair because everyone else was. And, taking photos of hair and just posting it on Instagram and just posting every single cut. And it's like, why am I doing that? It's like, I'm doing it because everyone else is. And that's the truth. And so when I started questioning that, and I was looking at, okay, what can I actually do with my career? Why am I working at a barbershop? What is this barbershop doing for me as well? And being in Sydney for the last 3 years, it was kind of like there was no real big name barbershops in Sydney, and there were some really big name salons. And so I really considered, okay, what if I could actually move into a salon as the only barber and sort of build that credibility, being able to be more of a unique position there rather than just another number. Because very much in a few different places that I've been at, it's been like I've just fitted the mold inside a barbershop. And it's like you just have to show up at this time, go home at this time and cut hair all day. And I felt very insignificant in doing that. And a big part of my personality is just being my own individual creative. And if I can represent that in any way that I can, I'd just like love to jump into that opportunity.
Which makes sense. And we've spoken, like, I've been fortunate enough to have a few conversations with you. So I guess run us through that stage, that 8 month period where, in my mind, I consider that you found your purpose.
Mm.
What was that like? Well, tell us all about that.
Good question. So like, such an interesting time as well. I'd got away from the barbershops, gotten into a salon for about 9 months, working 3 days a week. So 3 days was to allow for 4 days a week to focus on education. The education didn't happen, and so it was a lot of time to just think. And it's been crazy how powerful that time space is to allow yourself to be able to process your thoughts and revise what happened and reflect on who you are and what you do. Whereas so many people just kind of get caught up in that race and they're just showing up to work every day and they're just stimulated by so much and it's a distraction. And so I'm very grateful to have had that time. And there was a point in May last year where one of my friends asked me if I wanted to go to this retreat. And my idea of a retreat was like spas and massages and like just relaxing. I was like, cool, yeah, I'll do that. And didn't really know too much about it, but didn't have time to look into it too because I was too busy and just being caught up with so much stuff. And anyway, last minute, I just went to this retreat. A lot of the retreat was about connection. So one of the first exercises we did, and I'm in a group of 18 people I've never met before. And we just sat and like made eye contact with someone for 2-3 minutes. And it's like, for a lot of people, probably 99% of people have never done that in their life. And it's like, it's very powerful.
It's very intimate as well.
So intimate. And just to not even say anything in that space, and just hold space for each other. Have you ever done breathwork before?
No. And I remember like, no.
No.
So like elaborate.
Yeah. I mean, I'd heard of some breath work from Wim Hof, the Iceman. He's like done these Guinness World Records where he's just swam under like freezing temperatures and being able to hold his breath for long periods of time and just really defy what we believe. And that was kind of my understanding of breath work and didn't really know how to get involved in that. Anyway, it came up was one of the exercises we did at this retreat. And so essentially we did 95 minutes of intensive breathing.
95 minutes.
Yeah. And it's like for most people, like I said, like 99% of people just kind of living day to day and going back and forth between all these distractions. To actually take in a deep breath and just...
So it's literally just deep breaths like that for 95 minutes.
Yeah.
And what's the purpose?
So basically, you put your body into a natural DMT state, which DMT is the chemical that your brain releases when you die. And my understanding of that would be that when you're passing away, your brain releases this chemical so you process trauma that's happened in your life. And you would let go of that stuff before you would move into whatever happens afterwards. And the fact that you can actually reach that state being sober is pretty cool. And very powerful. In my experience, I'm sitting around this room and everyone's going through their own journeys in this 95 minutes. And I processed relationships with my parents, my sister, my ex, myself, and just kind of looked at everything that happened in that time and everything that I could have done and how it would have played out differently. And it was like I literally healed all these relationships in my own story. And I was like, wow, like came out of that experience going like, what can I do with this information? Like it created all this understanding and perspective. And I just kind of thought to myself, like, I'd love to be able to share this with other men, to be able to teach them how to love themselves, but also how to love others. And I guess by being able to have perspective and not being like reacting within your experience, definitely creates a lot of clarity.
100%. And how long did that camp go for, or the retreat go for?
It was 4 days.
That's a very intense 4 days.
Very intense 4 days.
And was it no technology and stuff like that as well?
We could, but I kind of felt like I didn't want to as well, where I was like really just committed to being there and just paying attention the whole time and just learning as much as I could.
Just making the most of it.
Yeah, being totally, I guess, detached from old ways and old behavior to really create new behaviors.
And you said something really interesting about how after that whole process, you wanted to take that away and share that with others. But with everything that you learned in that time period, what have you really taken away and adapted to yourself?
Everything. Yeah, okay, so through that process of understanding how I could actually deliver that to the world, I was thinking at the time that the purpose behind me working at the time was to pay rent. Like, we're getting paid this small amount that realistically covers our rent, food bills, weekend out, and there's not much left over. And I thought about if I could actually share this perspective with people and be able to travel the world in the process and connect with people and share and learn from people around me, then that was fulfilling here, not here.
True.
And that was really fulfilling. Whereas I guess when you're earning money for work that you're doing, it's like it's this never-ending chase, and it's like I'm earning this much, but I want to earn more, and I'm never really content with that level.
Because there's always more.
There's always more available, and it's being distracted by thinking that happiness is going to come from more money or more things, but letting go of that and being like, okay, I'm good with nothing, and what can I actually bring to the world. And I guess then for the next 6 months after that, I really sort of spent a lot of time thinking that I needed to just travel and connect with certain people, which is why I'm in Melbourne, and actually learn from the people around me that were on a good path themselves. And I guess if I could take little bits and pieces of their puzzles to bring into my own puzzle, and I'd actually have something to be able to offer people. And I think creating myself in that process has been a big player.
Yeah, and that's deep too. And like just through previous conversations we had, I've learned that it really has taken you all over the world.
Yeah.
How did you know where to go? Did you just take the plunge?
Really took the plunge, but I think the craziest part about it is that once I kind of stepped back and was like, okay, I'm going to create space for things to just come in. And it's just been this ongoing cycle of things just going bang, bang, bang. Like it just keeps coming in. And I think as opposed to the lifestyle that I was living before, where I was too busy for that stuff to come in. So how, like, if there is something that's helping that, that it was trying to offer me these things, but it was like I was looking over here and I was distracted and I was focused on this, that I couldn't see all of this.
Bro, I hear that loud and clear. And it hasn't been, like, we've almost been doing this for a year now. And moving away from everything that you just said, like stepped away from full-time work, dropped it all the way back. Now, through following what I feel is one of my, like, passions, the doors that are opening related to that passion are just things I could never even imagine.
Yeah.
And I wish I could share what they are, but I just can't share them all now. But it's
top secret.
No, it's not top secret, but it's just when you see, you'll see. And it'll just honestly can't wait.
That's exciting.
But I never would have had that opportunity if I stayed doing what I was doing. And which I'm grateful for. Like, I can't be upset about, because doing what I was doing, it was rewarding. Like, money was good, blah, 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 blah.
But it wasn't fulfilling.
Yeah, nah. It wasn't enough to keep me getting out of bed every day.
Yeah.
And then like that's what I realized. Like after like an extended period of time, I was like, this just isn't getting easier. Like I was like,
Just
this
doesn't cut
really
it.
isn't getting easier.
That's right.
And then now that I'm doing this, like now I can wake up at 9 a.m. to like be ready at 9 a.m. to be filming. Like, but then try and get me in other scenarios at 9 a.m. like voluntarily, it's just
Nah,
so hard to do.
you can't put a price on that.
No, and you can't. And then like that's, and it's funny because we can be rewarded in here, but like we take a serious hit here.
Mm.
But it's weird to everybody else. They're like, worry about this, worry about this, worry about this. But then you're like, I was
Seriously.
all right before this.
Yeah.
I'm going to be all right after. And I think deep down, for me anyway, I know I'll be all right. And I know that if I need to make money, I can make money.
Yeah.
And you're in the exact same position.
100%. And I think when you know, you know.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, I left the retreat and decided I was like, okay, if I want to be able to travel and do this stuff, then I'm going to have to quit my job because I need freedom. And I was like, okay, how do I support myself in that time? I was like, I can cut hair anyway. What the fuck does it matter?
Mm.
And I came back, handed in my resignation, and I was working at a place with around 40 people. And I
Was
remember,
that the salon?
yeah,
40 of them.
huge, very, very, and that was the, you know, most ironic part about leaving was that was one of my favorite places I've ever worked.
Interesting.
And it was so easy for me to walk away because I knew that it was right. And I had so many people asking me, like, what are you going to do? Like, aren't you worried about money? And I was like, it'll come. I think you just learn to trust yourself. And I just knew that creating that space was going to be more fulfilling and it was going to work. I just knew that it was going to work. Something told me, you know. Then, yeah, since then, that was sort of June, July. And then by September, I spent a month in New Zealand. Worked with a guy over there for 2 weeks in Christchurch. And the weekend I got there, there was a men's healing workshop on, which was really, really powerful. And got to stay at a Māori church, which was really cool. And just one of my biggest passions is being immersed in culture and learning about culture. Because I think there's so many lessons that the Indigenous people of the world can teach us. And being there in this sacred space for a few days and just learning traditional ways was like, wow.
But from traditional people.
Mm. I like that.
Yeah, bro.
And
No, continue.
Yeah, and then being at the shop where every day, do you know what hongi is in New Zealand? Where they press the nose.
Oh, the greeting.
Yeah. So it's about connection and sharing breath. And
break that down for people what that is.
so it's like the pressing of the noses and the forehead. And so basically we'd go into like a handshake, press your heads against each other and just draw breath at the same time. So it's creating oneness, and each worker would do that when they got there and when they left every single day, whether they were cutting and whatever. And on my last day there, in front of like 30 people in the shop, like it was packed out, someone tapped me on the shoulder mid-cut and they're like, oh, just come down the back. And I turned around and there I was just standing back and I was like, shit, I know what's coming. And they all just broke out into haka. And I was like, wow, and like to receive that was so powerful and like never felt that kind of emotion before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really showed me that they were representing to all the men in that shop that they put love, connection, acknowledgement and appreciation for one person above business.
That's real.
That was powerful. And I think that's where this kind of shift is going, where that stuff's more important than making money.
100%. And I guess to you, it almost just another thing that confirms that you made the right decision.
Yeah.
Like trusting in yourself. Like I tell myself the same thing. I'm like, if I do this, I really have to believe in myself because no one's going to do it for me.
Yeah.
And you need little moments like that just reaffirm that within yourself.
Totally.
Like you can literally just sit back and you're like, I did make the right decision. And it's like there can be periods of time where that doesn't happen, but like you just have to bite the bullet. But when those times do happen, you're just thankful because you're like, thank you. But no, just before, like as you started that New Zealand trip, you spoke about the men's. What did you call it again?
The men's healing workshop.
Yeah, give me 30 seconds on that. Because what is that?
So similar thing to the retreat that I went to. It was called a barber hui, which
Barber hui.
Yeah, in Māori language, hui means meeting, and so I guess this is probably a big another topic, but barber meeting kind of attracted all these men to come in, and whereas if you said it was a men's healing workshop, it's almost like a little bit apprehensive to get involved with for a lot of men that, you know, they've never really opened up about stuff. And so that was pretty powerful. And similar thing, we started off with connection. So doing the eye contact and just giving each other a hug for a few minutes and just holding that. That was cool. And then doing the hongi for a few minutes. And the guy that I did the hongi with, this was pretty cool, very special. So I'd never spoken to him before, and we went into this hongi, and I felt him lean away, and it was interesting. I actually kind of felt that he was pulling away because of something wrong with me. Like that's just the way we're kind of taught these insecurities that like, oh, this person doesn't like me. And then I realized, because we're in handshake as well, our hands just started filling up with his tears. And I was like, wow. And that encouraged me to actually pull him closer and just be like, I've got you. And we didn't even speak. And it was for like 4 minutes. We just held this hongi. And it was like we were communicating the whole time. It was just like something you've never done before.
It was like literally deep and meaningful.
Really.
And isn't there like, and only because we've just had this conversation previously, but that story about how that experience after that 2 weeks at the barbershop, doesn't he come back into your picture?
Yeah.
Tell that story, because that is a great story.
Yeah. This is really cool. And I guess I went to New Zealand with the intention to learn from the land, because I think the land's very sacred. It's been very respected through culture for such a long time. And I first, after working at the shop, I went and stayed in this place just south of Auckland called Ihu Mātau, and there was a land protest happening there. And so I just wanted to go and spend time sort of holding space with the people. And something that was very special after the few days that I'd spent there, they've got a little office set up there where they're sort of communicating between council and different people, trying to get some progress with it. And I went and put in, on my last day there, I went and put in $50 to the koha box. And so koha means gift. And that was just to say my appreciation for them looking after me for the few days. And yeah, so essentially I'd given $50 koha, which is like, you obviously do that with no intention of receiving, because it's like, I genuinely appreciate the opportunity to be here and learn from you. And anyway, I left there, and 24 hours later, I got to the literally opposite corner of the North Island, New Zealand, to the place where the guy had his shop, the guy that I was doing the hongi with. And I spent
the one that was emotional?
Yeah. Spent a couple of hours at his shop just hanging out. And then he took me to his place to see his family and stuff. And we were just having a chat. And I was telling him about the retreat that I first went on that kind of put me onto this journey. And they were actually, the same people are doing another retreat in New Zealand. I said maybe he should go to that. Like, it'd be really important for him. And when I told him where it was, he said that's where his tribe comes from. And then literally, like, no lie, the light above us, it was switched off and it just started glowing. And I was like, man, there's something going on. And anyway, we left this situation, walked outside, and he opened my van door and put $50 in my door. And I looked at him and I was like, I just came to hang out. Like, I don't need your money. And he goes, no, koha. And I was like, wow, like something was listening. And that was, to me, the universe or the land or something was just saying that you give what you get and you get what you give. And there's this higher balance that really works in the world where you've got to look after community and community looks after you.
Bro, straight up. And like, without a community, how does one get raised properly?
Yeah, it takes a village.
It really does. And like, all those things need to come together in order for the right outcomes to be achieved.
Totally.
And it's nuts because when you first told me about that story, it made me reflect on like some of my own experiences of like situations where I gave out. You do get back in not always ways you'd expect, but in ways that were necessary at that time that you didn't even think were necessary.
Yeah. You
And
always
like,
get what you need.
Yeah. And it's nuts. It really is nuts. And then it just comes back to being thankful. You're just like, shit. I was happy that I was in a fortunate enough position to help this person. And now this other person was able to help me. It's just like...
I think, yeah, it's so important to show gratitude in everything you do. Even, you know, being able to work in the streets barbershop, the opportunity to just be there and be around this energy of love, because the team, they're all about it and they want to give back. And so me being there, being able to absorb that is so potent. And I'll be able to take away a lot from this trip.
Yeah, and it's like, and I was thinking about it on the way to pick you up. I was like, you've only been here for like literally probably like 9 days, and you've done the most.
In what way?
Like, you've helped out the community. You've helped out within a shop. Like, you've come and done something like this. And then like all the other things you're like going to do before you leave again.
Yeah.
And you're going to get that opportunity to do that goal that you once wanted to achieve, educating. Like, you've been doing that the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen Boom listen to an individual before until you were cutting my hair.
Really?
Yeah, like when Nas cuts it, Boom just sits there critiquing it. He's just like... But then when you were cutting, he's like, why do you do that? Why do you do that? Why do you do that? What did you just say? I need to hear that again. And you're just like, all right, Boom, I get it. Like, you're very impressed. Like, just let the man do his job.
He's cool. Nas actually mentioned something the other day where you can sing the same song, but when it's in a different melody, it's heard by different people. And I thought that was really beautiful. And I think sometimes just being able to reiterate a message can just be enough for someone to get it. And so, yeah, I mean, grateful for the opportunity as well to come down and be able to share stuff as well. That, you know, the things that I've learned with my hair is all of that's being given to me from other people. So what does it serve me to keep that?
Yeah, I reckon. Like, it would, like, but then it almost completes the circle, doesn't it? Like, you were giving it by other people. It'd be rude of you not to continue giving it to others.
Totally.
No, it's powerful. And I guess that's enough to keep you motivated and to reward the right areas. Like, financially not always the case, but like, it feeds you here. And like, being fed here, like, we both understand. It's like, that's enough to get up every day and keep doing like the same thing.
100%. Because, like, you know, I think we're old enough now to know where money exists if we wanted to go and chase it. But it's like, if I wanted to make money, like, I'd be in other places. So I came down here to hang out and absorb from other people. And that outweighs the money by so much.
Yeah, otherwise you would have stayed in Sydney in like a multi-complex salon.
Yeah.
And being number like 4 of 40.
Yeah.
It's like,
So we can do it if you want, but it's like you said, it's not rewarding.
And I think the most interesting thing is how you went from potentially doing like 20 plus haircuts a day to now you've only got 21 clients.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I think you learn the hard way. And still grateful for going through that experience too, where there was days where I was working in barbershops doing 20 to 30 cuts a day, 6 days a week. And, I was like 22 at the time, and I was going home with sore feet, sore ankles, sore knees, sore legs, sore hips, sore back, everything. I was like, how the hell am I going to do this at 60 years old?
Mm.
And I guess that was the seed, right? And that started to grow. And then over the next few years, really kind of considered, okay, what am I doing and why am I doing this? So, like, I feel like shit, and I'm still not happy. What do I need for happiness? And I think the answer for that is different for every individual. Whereas for me, it was freedom, and I needed just to escape.
Mm.
And now, and that's the most interesting part, where since I left the salon in July last year, I've not messaged a single individual client. I've just allowed everyone to come as they wish. And I think if I was to sit there every single day and chase every single client, like, that's going to be tiring for me. That's going to be stressful for me. It puts pressure on them. And it's like, I don't expect anyone to do that.
Mm.
And I still want freedom. My priority is freedom. And if I'm caught up chasing people, then that's not freedom.
No, it's not. And like, you set quite a high standard now. So when people are coming to you, they know what to expect anyway. So they're not surprised when they hear the price. They're not surprised when they hear anything. They're like, I know I'm going to get a good haircut.
Or try.
What's that?
And I try.
Yeah, like,
And I mean, the principles are behind it, right? Like because I'm working mobile now and I will drive to someone's house, my principles is like convenience, the client, and efficiency, and combining that together, and that's my offer. And if someone wants to cut at 6 a.m., then it's like, I'll show up, but they're going to pay for it. So, and and they appreciate it. And I think it goes both ways. But for the modern world that we're in now, it's like people are way too busy to find time to go to a barbershop.
Mm.
And people with families especially, it's like, how are they going to work 60 hours a week, then drive to a barbershop, wait in line, get butchered by someone that they don't know, not have that connection or relationship, then drive home and see their family for an hour and have dinner and go to bed? So what kind of life is that?
It's a life for some.
Yeah, it is. And because they don't know, they've never been shown the other side as well.
That's true.
But yeah, I mean, I'd love to share that other side and hope to put a light on it and allow people to see it.
Then it's also not for everyone. That's what I've
Correct.
come to learn. Like, I have family that speaks to me now and they're like, if I did what you did, I'd be pulling my hair out every single day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, just...
Some people really like the comfort and just
they do.
to show up to a job that's enough for them.
Like, more so than that, it's, like, it's the comfort. It's like the comfort that comes from guarantees.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting X amount every Wednesday, same time. You know how much. You know when you can schedule your holidays. And, like, people love it.
It's comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. And, like, to be fair, it 100% is.
Yeah.
And your life is...
It's easy.
Yeah, it is. It's smoother. It's easier. But for me, and obviously just like yourself, smooth and easier isn't fun
Nah.
for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
Like, I can do it for a little bit.
I get so bored with fun and easy. Yeah. Comfortable.
It just, yeah. And it's almost, when I get like that, I start looking for chaos. And that does more damage than it does good. like it really
Be
does.
careful what you wish for.
Yeah. So I'm just like, okay. No, but there was something that you said in terms of like find your own happiness, and that for you was find your own freedom. I took a moment to think about that for myself. And for me to find my own happiness, I had to not conform. And for me, growing up, like there was so many pressures from like literally every single direction, which I always found myself conforming. And it wasn't until probably the birth of this was where I literally just stood up one day and I was like, you know what? No. Like, I'm going to just do me now. And it's like, other people might not be happy with it, but at least I am. And that's the most important thing for me. And I never acknowledged that truly until now.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. And because it was weird, because like you talk to other people about it, and I'm like, how are you happy conforming like that? Like, oh, it's just what I got to do. And I'm like, fair. But then I never took the time to think about why I no longer do that. In reality, that's how I can stay happy. Because if I'm constantly just trying to like fit into that box, it pisses me off. And it's just, it just does more damage than good.
Because it's putting a label on who you are, and it's like, it's very restrictive. There's two thin walls that you've got to stay in and not touch. And sometimes you just get claustrophobic and you're like, let me out of this. And yeah, I mean, I've found so many things or opportunities to take those walls down and step outside. And I love jumping into that. And I think now I've really been able to see and create evidence for my own mind to say that it's okay to do that.
100%.
And I guess you think about it as when a caterpillar enters a cocoon and it literally breaks down into tiny little specks, and it'll recreate into a butterfly. So it literally dies in that process, and it comes out so much better than it was. And that's been my biggest lesson, is like, when you see that challenge come up, it's just like, recognize it and lean into it, because that's where the challenge and the discomfort is. And when you go through it, you come out with so much growth on the other side.
It's so funny that you said that, because I was reading something this morning. I'm probably going to butcher it, but it went along the lines of like the ultimate, like the old, what is it? I'm just going to like put my own twist on it. But the best time period in your life is when you figure out you can't be born again.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like you're just like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this again. Like,
this is my chance.
Yeah, this is my only chance. It's like, I can't wait for when. I can't wait for like who. I can't wait for this. I can't wait for that. Like, this is all on me. And if I don't do this in this existence, I'm not going to get another opportunity. And with everything that I've been like grateful enough to receive, it would be stupid for me not to take advantage of those things.
Totally.
And yeah, I don't know, when I read that this morning, it actually, like, as you know, I've been like crook hours all week, and I was like, no, well, I have to tough this one out. It doesn't matter like how shit I feel. But then it was moments like that, which was when I'm like, yeah, well, if I don't do this now, I'm not going to have the opportunity to do it again. So I was like, literally, suck it up, tough it out, and go worry about it all tomorrow. Like,
yeah. You just kind of ride it out.
Literally.
Because it's worth it.
It is worth it. Because the rewards that we get.
That's the growth.
Yeah, but then also the rewards that we've created for ourselves. It's not the promise that if you do this, someone will give you this. It's the reward that I've done this, and in doing so, I received this as an outcome. And that gives me a great deal of satisfaction as well. Which I guess comes back to like your freedom sort of thing. Like, I don't have to wait for someone else to give me something. It's like, no, this is all mine, so I'm going to go get it.
Yeah. And I think personally, I love doing things for myself. It's like I spent some time building a website, and I've just sort of launched that about a month ago. And I've had so many people ask, oh, who did your website? And I was like, I did. And they're like, really? Like, it looks really cool. And I was like, well, thank you. But I think if someone else had done it for me, it wouldn't be how I wanted it. And being able to take full control of what I do in my life and how I represent myself, that's the best feeling ever. Like,
you can tell someone, but they're going to interpret it their way.
That's right. So, and with everything, you know, like a lot of what I'm doing right now, it's up to me to write, because it's not following a trend. And I have the freedom to do it how I want to do it. And I think that sort of stems into the education that I was doing, where I was working for a company for about 18 months, doing education around Australia and on stage and things like that. And I feel like looking back at it now, an analogy that I came up with was basically it was as if I was competing in a skateboard competition and it was packed out and everyone was skating, having to do these tricks in this skate park that's been built by people who sell vacuum cleaners. And at one point I just grabbed my board and I was like, you know what, fuck this, I'm going over here. And I jumped into this freestyle park and I can do whatever tricks I want for me.
Yeah.
And no one's judging.
Well, you remove that element of competition.
That's it.
And if you're not competing with others, you're only competing with yourself. And it's like, that's the best person to compete with.
Yeah.
It's the one you learn the most from.
Yeah. You just keep trying.
Literally. Like I can set out and be like, you know what? I'm going to be a better barber than Jake. If I started like 11 years ago, this is like, why not just choose to challenge myself in something that I want to improve on and then get better at that?
Yeah.
Rather than trying to live someone else's reality.
Yeah.
Which is just not mine.
Yeah.
Like it makes no sense for me to go and chase that.
Fully.
But, you know, people still want to do that. And if that's what you want to do, by all means.
Yeah.
If that pleases you, let that please you.
Yeah. And I mean, like I've definitely, if I had the opportunity again and went back in time, I would definitely take it. And I would have still spent those 18 months there. But I think there's a time and a place for everything. And I learned so much from being there. And I mean, I also learned that I was climbing a ladder of someone else's expectations of what I should be doing in my career. And, you know, was doing the things, but not feeling like I was getting anywhere. It's like now, as soon as I've stepped out, doing my own education, doing my own haircuts, doing it whenever I want to do and doing it how I want to do it, then it's like, no one's telling me I can't. And it's like, this is me. And I feel like there's so much less stress because it's exactly how I intended it to be, not how someone said I should have to do it. And I feel like that alone was creating so much anxiety for me to have to fulfill their expectations.
Bro, I hear that loud and clear. And it was weird, like, obviously we do worry about certain things, but the things we worry about have simple solutions. And they're only our worries now because we got comfortable in working full time, doing this, doing that. So when I wanted to flick my fingers and just like go on a holiday, I could because like I was earning like a nice amount every single week.
Yeah.
But then the difficulty was I just didn't have that time. And that caused me more frustration. It's nuts. So what's next for Jake?
What's now?
True.
I got that question just over a month ago and it was like, yeah, I mean, what's the point of me setting a 5-year goal that I could potentially exceed? Because 5 years ago, I guess if I had to ask myself where I would be, I mean, I probably would have dreamed of having my own barbershop. Whereas now it's like, having my own barbershop doesn't even matter to me right now. It's like, having my own shop sounds like a massive trap at this point. And I feel like setting such a long-term goal is kind of limiting in our own capabilities of where we could go, what could come in, what we're open to. Because if we're stuck on this and this opportunity comes up, it's like, no, I'm doing this. You know what I mean? And so I feel like rather than looking at what's next, looking at what can I do now to improve and be better than 2 seconds ago. And that's a constant challenge. And I mean, that there's a constant wave that comes with that where there's some highs, there's some lows, but it's being able to ride that wave and being okay with the lows, because you know that balance is so important. And it's like being able to rest and being okay with just having a rest day, because then you know that you'll be able to perform at your best when that's required as well. And realistically, what I can do now is just keep challenging myself and recognize those challenges and keep improving. And so, I mean, I do have a trip to Bali booked as soon as I get back to Sydney. So I'm back to Sydney for 3 days and I'm going to Bali for 12. on another retreat, which is a massive self journey. And I know there's one thing that I can share on the last day that we're doing. That's we'll be leaving the hotel at 1:30 in the morning to climb a volcano. It's a 7K hike.
Jesus.
And it's for sunrise. And so I'm guessing it's not a half an hour climb.
Not if you're starting at 1:30 in the morning.
That's right. And so I'm really excited for that. I'm actually doing a call tonight with that just to check in and finalize all the last details. So that's next. And that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. And there's something else that you said there, which is something I need to definitely adopt. But then it's like taking that day to rest. I think that's exactly why I ended up in this current position. I just like keep telling myself, I'm like, no, I got to do it now. I got to do it now. I got to do it now.
Yeah.
And then like every like couple of months, I just get hit hard. And like my whole body's just like, guess who's not doing shit for 5 days? You. And I'm just like, oh no, this couldn't have come at any worse of a time. So I really have to like, this is just more for myself, but I really have to like at least pick one day and just commit to it and just being like, I'm not doing shit.
And you know what? Like my own experience says that you don't have to say like, oh, okay, every Monday I'm gonna rest. But it's really just listening to your own body and saying, what do I need right now? And my rest has kind of become so quick that like there's days I'll go and do a cut at 6:30 in the morning and I'll come home and sleep. And it's being able to be okay with that and being like, I don't have to stay up all day or be up early. If I want to stay up late and get stuff done because I'm feeling like alert and really motivated, then ride that wave and do it. And then sleep the next day. And just feeling that, but not feeling guilty at all. It's like a fully mastered rest.
True. How did you fully master rest?
Just allowing that. I mean, there's time and space for it. You know, there was, like I've learned the hard way where there was a month when I was still working full time. This was a whole month where I was working Tuesday to Saturday full time, doing cuts all day, every day. I was in a relationship at the time. And then, you know, Sunday morning, I'd fly out, go somewhere, do education all day, get to my hotel at like 11 o'clock at night, go to sleep, wake up, do education all day. And education is draining because you've got to be switched on the whole time and just be like on, like no breath. And then I'd go to sleep Monday. I'd be awake at 4 a.m. on a Tuesday, get in a taxi, get to the airport, get on a plane, fly back to Sydney, get an Uber from the airport back to my job, not even go home and drop my bags off, like literally straight to work, unpack my tools real quick, keep my luggage aside, cut hair all day till 6 o'clock, pack up by 6:30, get home by 7, unpack my bags by 8 and have a shower and stuff, cook dinner, wash up, go to bed. Still haven't even had time as a relationship, but not in that time was there a single minute that I spent on myself. And so really learned that. Like that was a 4-week period where I just did that every week, and that was hectic. But so glad that I did it too, because now I know what I don't want.
From the sounds of things, it's living like that.
Yeah. And so being able to rest and be okay with that, and I guess stepping away from the expectation to just hustle all the time. Like there's a time and place for everything. And you can hustle when you feel like you're motivated, but if your body's tired, then like don't force it. And I think being okay with that is so important. And you know, there's times where I'll feel really clear in what I'm saying, and if I am tired, I just don't want to talk. And I've debated it in myself where I've been like, shit, I need to be able to be clear and give offer wisdom or something, you know. And it's like getting frustrated at myself because I'm not in that right headspace. But it's been like, okay, obviously I just need to rest. Don't fight it. Just go and sleep. And it's like being able to have discernment to say no to things, which, you know, right now I really don't spend a lot of time socializing because a lot of my time is spent with myself and then going to clients' houses and traveling away, which makes it hard too. But like, I'm okay with that because I don't really need an outlet anymore.
True.
Like when I was working full time, I was so exhausted to get to Saturday and I was like, I want to drink. Whereas now it's like I could go weeks and weeks without a drink and be totally fine because I'm rested. I've got balance. I've got time for myself. I've got my outlets like creating, drawing, writing, whatever I want. And everything's in that moderation where I don't need to splurge.
I hear that. And just in everything you were saying there, that was when I realised my fuck ups. Because it was almost like, from the earliest age, I knew I had to survive for myself. So it's just like hustle, hustle, hustle. It's like you just rest, like fuck it. Like you just need to like go and get it. And it isn't until I stepped away from that, where now I'm just trying to live my life, which is now I find myself like, you know, not wanting like, bro, I had 2 beers this whole year and I just like have no desire.
Yeah.
Like I don't care. When Saturday comes around, all the boys are like, let's do some shit. I'm like, I can't be fucked.
Because it's an escape, right?
Yeah. And it's like I'm not trying to run from something. And if anything, I'd rather just go do something else so the next day I can be productive if I choose to do so.
Yeah. Because you end up wrecked from it so much. And it's like, especially if you're working full time, you go out on a Saturday, you're wrecked Sunday, you're trying to recover Monday and get everything organized and clean up the house, and then boom, you're back into it again. It's like you still haven't spent time doing what you want to do.
And it's like, then it's almost, that period goes for so long where you just start resenting that. You're like, why am I not doing anything I want to do? Like, this bothers me. And you're just like, it's not a good thing.
Nah.
But oh well, we live and we learn.
That's right.
But I guess we're at that time of the day, Jake, and I'm hella curious to see what you have to say. Like I've told you, there's one question everybody gets asked, and I think now's a suiting time. So Jake, what's one thing that you wish you were told as a youth?
That I would tell myself, or that I was told?
Just one thing. You interpret that however you want.
Yeah. That everything's already perfect, just the way it is, just the way you are.
Deep that a bit more.
I think having the time to reflect on the situations that have happened in my life, that I look back and go, wow, I can see where that was so necessary for my own learning. And if it had not happened, I'd probably still be there. Where, like, I've genuinely forgiven and shown love for people that have probably hurt me the most, because through that suffering I learned the greatest lessons. And so realistically, they've offered me more than what my best friends have. And so being able to take that experience, they've been a catalyst for my own learning and my own growth. And so I'm so thankful for them.
No, it's real shit.
That's real shit.
Yeah, like, no. I was like, I wasn't going to let you get away with just saying that. I was like, hell no. You're a deeper man than that. There's more to what you're saying there.
When you look into it. Hey,
no, but like everything you said was spot on. Like, you know, your mates are there to support. But the people that hurt you are there to teach you a lesson. And there's either 2 ways you look at it. It's like, it's either a loss or a lesson.
Yeah.
And like one way you don't lose.
That's right. It's my choice and my responsibility for the way that I handle it. And if I want to continue to be affected by it for the rest of my life, then who's really losing?
Jake, you're an intelligent man.
Thank you.
Like, bro, it's like you've experienced a lot. I'm grateful that we were able to make this happen and that you were able to come and share your story.
It's been an opportunity that I'm super grateful for. It's something I haven't done before, but it's kind of been playing on my mind. It's been like having so much time to think and come up with perspective for myself. It's been like, how do I share this? Because it's like I can write it down in a book for myself, but I'd love to be able to offer it to other people as well, because I know that so many people go through the same situations. So I'm really grateful to be able to provide and be able to be of benefit to others.
Just keep offering a service.
That's right.
And like, bro, you like did just fine.
Thank you.
You expressed everything. You were able to communicate it well. And yeah, bro, I just wish you all the best with whatever happens in your future now. Because I know you'll do whatever you want to do. And just make that shit happen. Because no one's going to make it happen for you.
We both will.
Bro, that's the hope.
Thank you, brother.
All three of us will. We see you, Liam King, in the background.
It's harding.
It's going to be his year this year. It's nuts. It's nuts.
It's happening.
Yeah,
It's already written.
Bro, that's a whole other conversation.
Let's save that for next time.
Yeah. But I was with the creator and I was like, oi, that Liam King, yeah, you better give him some real good shit. And it better be this year and all the following years. And he was like, yeah, I got you, Dre. I'm like, thank you. No, but tell the people where they can find you.
Anyway, I'm pretty floating for the next little while. Based in Sydney, but pretty happy to just go wherever I need, wherever I feel drawn to go. But my social media is just under my name, Jake Putan, Putan. And if anyone has any questions about anything we spoke about, definitely don't hesitate to ask. I'd love to elaborate. So thank you guys for having me. Thank you for listening.
My Jake. Do you have anything else you want to tell the people?
Nah, not yet.
Not yet? Not yet?
Still early.
We'll get him next time when we cross paths yet again.
We'll do it.
But shit, you heard him. I guess that's it for Different Kind of Genius this week. Big thanks to our sponsors once again. You know who they are. It's getting like a tongue twister now. There's a few of them, so it's tiring saying them all. But they'll be popping up everywhere and that. And yeah, stay safe. Peace out. One love. Liam, you know what to do. Jake.